Good day to you, partner. I'm keen, and I can already tell that I'll be your best friend in this forsaken camp.
Hey guys, Wheat Solo here, aka the Skeleton King. So, this is a bonus video explaining more about why the Green Goblin works, and why the Act 1 Mercenary is surprisingly OP, and we just didn't understand this. When I started making this video, I was trying to do one thing really simply. I was giving a Amazon like pretty reasonable gear, like, good, but nothing great. I didn't want to have to deal with corruptions and sockets yet. And someone in chat basically was saying this. They made a budget version of the Green Goblin, put it on a Druid summoner, and was able to do a like sub 9 throne from game creation, which is nothing special, but for Druid it's actually pretty fast. Especially, nothing even GG. He did have aura support, and then he basically put the same gear on an Amazon and then basically couldn't clear one room. And he was trying to tell me that like it's basically impossible to do anything. And what I found running River of Blood is that is clearly not the case. Now, the fatty enemies, here I'm just kind of messing around with Strafe and Magic Arrow, and like clearly Magic Arrow is the better of the two tools. And if I'm not dealing with basically flesh crawlers or corpulents, the clear speed is amazing. And why do I bring up those two enemies? Well, flesh crawlers are magic immune, and then corpulents have high health and also have high magic resistance. Now, this is me. I'm going to put the same gear on my Mercenary, and I think the clear speed was incredibly similar. And so I kind of put that little myth to rest that, an Amazon couldn't just do something similar with Magic Arrow. No, Magic Arrow is a very good ability. Now, yes, it is converting most of your damage to magic, but that didn't explain necessarily why it definitely seemed like as the Mercenary got better and better, she kept doing more and more damage. And now we kind of have to explain a little bit about the Act 1 Mercenary and something that has always been known to her, and I'll kind of show you at the end where I got this information or where Top Wugs found it, is that they basically double all damage. All physical damage on their character is doubled. I doubt this was intended. I mean, who knows? Maybe it was actually. There was not really a way to abuse it early on, because the way jewels basically functioned in original Diablo 2, they didn't really work very well in other item slots. And also the Act 1 Mercenary was way worse than it is now. And again, the Act 1 Mercenary in Project Diablo 2 is also incredibly new in the sense that they created the physical one, gave it Strafe, Magic Arrow, and then now we get to play with it. And we just didn't. Until Varric and I think maybe somebody else was messing around with it before him. I don't know. Some bard was telling me that he made a better Necromancer summoner than I did. And maybe this is what he's referring to. Now, as you can see, I have all typical aura support. I didn't cast Wisp, but I have Concentration, Fanaticism, and Might thanks to Rin's little tools that he gave me for my own pluggy. And I'm going to be putting in 30 max and 1030 jewels. And basically the clear speed for myself and the Mercenary is going to be noticeably quicker. Now, there's not a lot of jewels, and that's why I think the Mercenary isn't exploding in damage output. But basically, it's going to be the same thing as you saw before. If there's not flesh crawlers on the screen or not corpulents, things die incredibly quick. In fact, even the corpulents seem to be dying a lot better right now. And that's just kind of how Magic Arrow functions. Magic Arrow as an ability relies on your physical damage. The notes say it uses 50% converted to magic, but Top Wug thinks it's still 75%. And basically, fresh callers are immune to magic, and so basically I cannot even kill them. Now, if we know that the weapon damage is used when it calculates any sort of magic arrow attack, And then we go to the Mercenary, and we keep putting on more damage jewels on her, and she already has a high amount of base damage. It's not really the ED that makes this character broken, it's just the base damage values. And so if we're going to talk about gear options, I'm just putting some budget gear up on the screen right now. Yes, Lionheart is a rune word, so you can't put jewels into it, but these are all items that would kind of work, okay? Like the Grizz set comes with sockets. The Orphan's Call set just has good modifiers on it, so maybe you'll get sockets on those. And also G-Face is just broken. Black Hades comes with sockets. Tooth Row is just solid if you happen to find one with some sockets on it during your playthrough. And that's kind of why I list those, is really you're prioritizing sockets over everything else. Of course, you're going to want CBF, and that's why this little screen has a couple of different options for CBF. Marowaks would be clearly best early on, but sometimes they're kind of hard to track down, and so that's why I put down a couple of other options that you might be interested in trying. Now, again, like Magic Arrow by itself is a great ability, but yes, Demon Machine kind of puts it over the top. But also, it's really important to note that like Magic Arrow is doing a ton of damage on its own. Now, I'm going to list Fortitude here, not because it's budget, but just because somebody was saying it was a good option. I don't think it is, because you don't get sockets with it. Now, they are pretty common, and also, I think Veil of Steel might be better than Giant Conch. But if I was going to build this now, with what we know, I would definitely prioritize Deadly Strike, because critting will still get converted to the magic damage for Magic Arrow, and of course it'll affect the multi-shot damage. So the gear now to the left is going to be what I think would be the BIS gear for the build. Now, for the armors, I put two options. I put G-Bane, and then I also put Tyrael's Might, Templar's Might. And I think both would be very viable in-game options for the build. If you're wondering what your stats would look like, they are on the screen right there. That's with the G-Bane, but it wouldn't actually change that much. And then there is one other chest piece that you can't forget about. Yes, Cage of the Unsullied. By far, it would be BIS if you found a bunch of ridiculous jewels to put in it. If you're wondering why IAS isn't an issue, well, that's the Act 1 Merc attack speed, basically with a blade bow. And as you can see, it has -10 speed, and with 10 fanaticism, you only need 35 IAS. Well, with the Demon Machine, it has a -60 base speed, and so basically you need 8 IAS to reach the max breakpoint, and you'll see that on your character screen. Now, above is just a bunch of different information about things we realized about why the class works as it does right now. I think this screen in particular is really interesting, and it has to do with magic arrow damage, some of the physical attack damage being doubled, and then also that we don't even know what the Merc's magic arrow damage numbers are, which actually would be important. At 98, we know they use a level 33 magic arrow, but the damage number is not listed. We also don't know the % chance they use different attacks. They definitely use strafe and magic arrow more than anything else. The reason why I kind of bring this up as well is like the Act 2 Merc has been so solid for so long because we've always known that as he levels up, he uses jab more often. So he truly is Mr. Reliable. Well, I hope this video kind of explained some of the things going on with Amazon's Magic Arrow and the Act 1 Mercenary. I think I touched on pretty much everything I wanted, and if you want to build this, again, sockets over everything else. Even just magic jewels would work, like you find a +30, that'd be a great thing to hold on to. Min and max both get doubled, and remember, one last thing, mercenaries always do average damage, so increasing their minimum damage and their maximum damage will increase the average damage, which is what is always used every time they do an attack. Alright, Skellicking out, guys. GG.
Come play with us, Daddy.